Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show Talks with Dasha, where we take a deep dive into the world of tech news, startups, innovation, and venture capital. As your host, I'll be your guide on this exciting journey. Together, we'll uncover the latest trends, explore groundbreaking ideas, and interview industry leaders. So, my name is Dasha. Let's get started. And today we have a very, very special guest, a female founder, Melis Dural. Hi, Melis. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Dasha. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so glad to see you. So, Melis is the founder of EKOS.AI, an AI-powered networking and engagement platform designed for hybrid community management. So, personally, I'm super impressed by these things that she's doing, and that's why I invited her as a special guest today. So, Melis, let's kick off our conversation. And my first question would be, of course, about your background. So, if I'm not mistaken, you founded your company in 2020. So, what lies behind your journey as a founder? Like, why? Yes. So, what influenced your decision? Your education, your parents, your friends? How did it happen?
That's a great question. So I came to I'm originally Turkish. I came to the US when I was 18.
Oh,
And
18.
18, yeah. So for those who those who know me, I'm very extroverted.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, I
so
know.
very extroverted and made a lot of great friendships when I was in undergrad. But when I graduated, it was 2009. And um, all of the immigrants out there, I'm sure you're very familiar with the word OPT and
Yeah.
H-1B. So I had a specific amount of time on my OPT, but it was also a very difficult time in the States in general. The economy was pretty bad. Hiring was very, very slow, if any. So I realized I didn't really have a professional network. I had a ton of friends. They were all looking for jobs. And I didn't have
Yeah.
to refer me to a company or to speak for me to make an introduction or even to hire me. So, what I found myself doing was looking for a ton of communities and networking opportunities where I could meet more people in the professional world. I started going to a ton of events. I joined a ton of sports groups. I was playing soccer. I was playing basketball.
Oh, wow.
To I was going to after like there was during those times there was a lot of 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock networking happy hours, and I met
Yeah, of
a
course.
ton of great people. I actually and that's how I was able to get my first job. It wasn't through networking there, but I actually met my first boss while we were
Really?
in in a dressing room. I was next to her
Well,
trying
a
on.
great place to meet a boss, you know?
Yes, but um I think that my journey started with the frustration of feeling alone and not really having anyone to be able to help me find a position. My journey continued later on by realizing that this was a problem for most people. It wasn't necessarily specific to jobs, but in order for us to be successful in whatever we're doing, we need a community. We need a support system. We need people to be able to lend us a hand. And I think, that's the great part about women in tech as well. You guys are building an
Yeah.
amazing ecosystem. So I realized that in order to do that, you had to really use a ton of platforms, bridge the data, stitch the data together, and then almost create your own cheat sheet. In my scenario, it was sticky notes. And that's
Yeah.
also the time I realized I had a knack for sales. I'm an accidental salesperson, so I don't really I hate
Accidental salesperson. I love
accidental
it.
salesperson for sure. So I never enjoyed selling. I don't really like selling. I like building relationships, and I think that's a thing that I realized people enjoyed about the way that I approached sales in general. I built the relationship first. I was not pushy about it, and it really helped me excel the companies that I worked for. So that's kind of how Ecos came about. I was using too many platforms. I was trying to create my own communities. I was making introductions to people, and nothing really helped me meet people faster, whether it was during events, whether it was inside of a community. So
Hmm.
I wanted to build a platform that really drove the relationship building side of things. And that's what we're doing today.
Yeah, so basically, you were building your own product while working for someone else. Is that correct?
No, so I went to business school. I went to Babson, came out of Babson, was very much waiting for my green card. I really
Of
wanted
course.
to, yeah, I was very eager about trying to figure out how I could actually solve this problem for myself, let alone for other people. So it didn't really start as a product. It really just started as a passion project of something that was helping me uh, while I was in my previous company, and it was helping me scale that organization. It helped me with my sales numbers. I was able to bring it from 10 million to 60 million in 5 years in
Oh,
ARR.
wow.
And um, I think that's how kind of products, like for founders in general, it's really a pain point for us that then turns into something that potentially is used by many. And that's what I wanted to build. I wanted to build something for myself that helped me. And when I was testing stuff out, I realized there was a huge need for it. I looked initially at the B2C aspect of things, and I really wanted it to feel very gamified, like a dating application, and realized that there was a huge need already existing in communities. So I started talking to a ton of people who are either managing ecosystems, building communities.
Mm-hmm.
What did they need? What type of functionalities did they need? And what was their biggest issue? On the individual side, all of them said that networking was one, and that building relationships was
Really?
really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And then on
Interesting.
the yeah, and on the community side, community managers were using an average of 12 tools, and they were exhausted trying to keep their members engaged.
Yeah, so you were so into this problem that you actually decided to go in further, right, and build your own company. But so for those who doesn't know what is EKOS.AI, can you just say a few words? So what are you guys doing right now?
Sure. So we're a community engagement and management platform, but we're not just any community engagement and management platform. We are specifically positioned for hybrid communities. Most ecosystems now live in a hybrid world. So you'll see that some of your members exist. They're right next door. Others are across the globe. And I wanted to create a platform that reduced the barriers between spaces, physical as well as digital. And that's what we do. We bridge that gap.
Yeah, so if to make it like super easy, right, for those who like is not aware. So basically, for example, it can be a venture fund or a company who have workers all over the world, right, or clients all over the world, and in order to stay in touch with all of them, host different types of events, have like a chat, so they can use ECOS AI to solve all these issues, right?
Yeah, so if I was to, we call ourselves the open table for communities. We're really doing exactly what they did of solving the B2B side of things. So building the software for the community managers so they can host their community, their events, their meetings, their announcements, networking conversations in one place. But our differentiation is that we've really leaned into the relationship side for the members. So how do you find people that are relevant for you in your ecosystem? How can you then connect with them and then schedule meetings, start conversations, see what you have in common, see shared networking goals? Those are the things that we're really leaning into.
This is amazing. But when you decided that, okay, it's time to start my own company, were you actually, I know it's like a silly question, but were you scared? Like, did you think like, oh my God, what if it doesn't go? What if it doesn't work? What will I do? Like, embarrassing, shame on me. So did you have all these fears? Because that's what typically people feel when they think about their own business or a startup.
Uh, so I think that's a fear that founders feel daily. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
think
daily. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that feeling goes away, but maybe I'll have a different experience in a few years.
Okay.
I think that if you're not afraid of failing, you're really not doing it right. I mean, you have to be the fear of failing is really what pushes us to keep thriving and driving our companies or products. I think that a lot of founders, first time, second time, third time founders go through this. The later stage ones have just a different experience once they've gone through some of the hurdles.
Yeah.
It's always scary to go start something and then expect people to like it. And it's
Oh
also
yeah.
very scary if it's something that's constantly receiving feedback. So we already have over 15,000 users, so we're getting feedback on a constant basis.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it's I think that it's both a good and a bad thing. Like, it's great because everyone's so eager to give us feedback. They really want to build with us. We have amazing design partners, but then it can be scary because there's only so much. You have to be able to prioritize what you would approach first, what you decide to solve for today versus what's going to be solved for in the next 2, 3 months. And those are the things that we've really leaned on our customers for. So we really try to listen to them, understand what their needs are, what their priorities are, and go with that rather than going with our own assumptions in terms of product timelines.
Yeah. And so if we go back to your problem, because yeah, problem is like the most important. So I wanted to ask you how you identified it, but you said that it was your personal experience, right? That it was hard for you, like how to network and how to combine all these things together. But if you say like, if you try to explain the problem with one word or like a couple of words, how would you state it? Like, what is the problem that you're solving?
Um, we belong to multiple ecosystems and we want to know who's relevant in each of them. When you walk into an event, you want to know who you should talk to. When
Exactly.
you join a community like Women in Tech, you want to know who you should talk to. Uh,
Yeah.
and there is not a platform that solves for that and makes us feel like we can live both in a digital world and a physical world. The tools that exist today are very experiential. So you can go to a conference and you can go into their app, but then that feeling of connectivity is lost. You have to then go into another platform to drive that
True.
relationship. You can belong to a community, but then maybe the other community it doesn't have a platform. What we want to do is really position ourselves as the bridge between those worlds so that people are feeling more connected, creating more access for people while also giving them a safe space and
Yeah.
reducing the noise. I mean, we don't want to become just another channel you join. We want to become that place you go back to find relevant people and show you if you've had experiences together, if you happen to be in the same communities together, and really help you build relationships rather than be the platform that just gives you content. The people
Yeah.
really are the content. I mean, the for us, and I had mentioned we want to be the open table for. We're basically building the open table for communities. Today, we're going after the already existing ecosystems, but tomorrow, I want it to be for anyone, any individual like myself
Oh,
who's
wow. Nice
coming
plan.
coming to a city, not knowing what events, what communities, and what people are relevant to them, to be able to open up EKOS and see who their matches are, what communities are relevant to them, whether they're open or membership based. Obviously, the private ones won't be accessible, and then events where they can meet other people that are relevant to them. So again, we're really, really leaning into the relationship piece of things.
Yeah, and you see, you also mentioned that it's very important when you go to an event, you want to know who are the participants, who are the attendees. And for example, I personally use your platform, right? And I really like the fact that when you join, for example, a webinar, you can see all the participants prior to the webinar, and you can see, so Maria from, I don't know, Google will be there, or Anna from Techstarts would be there. So I wanted to discuss this and that. So amazing. So you can see the audience, you can see potential helpful content that you were looking for. And this is true because when you register to the conference, there is like an app, always like kind of a networking app, but very often it's really hard to find people there, right? You have like a big list of attendees. It's always like messy, confusing. You don't know who to reach to. So you do like solve this problem. So
Yeah,
it really helps. And this is like super convenient. And plus, after the event, you can continue networking, right? You can reach out to this person, you can continue
exactly.
conversation, dialogue, invite for coffee. So this is like super cool. So yeah.
I think one of the things that you just said, though, so I might have not mentioned this, but I've been working in a hybrid environment, mostly remote, since I was 22 years old. So
Mhm.
it's been a it's been a while. But one of the things that I noticed is that in virtual sessions, people feel very disconnected. They're very interested in watching the people on stage, so to speak, and really gaining insight. But you're seeing a lot of them just wait for the recording and watch the recording because it's the same thing. But when you offer them real-time networking opportunities. If I'm talking to you, Dasha, and on the right side, I'm seeing who's relevant to me, and the the platform is telling you who your top matches are, and I don't have to leave the experience while I'm feeling like I'm building relationships. I'm connecting with people that are relevant to me, that once the event is over, I can actually go and start conversations with and schedule meetings with without leaving the experience. I mean, that's offering a full cycle relationship building experience, and that's what we're thriving to be, that one-stop shop where people associate us with. Okay, if I want to meet new people, this is where I go. If I want to find people that are
Yeah.
relevant to me, this is where I go. Because communities, events, and meetings and resources are things, our experiences, our perks, but the people are really the thing that drives communities, drives engagement.
So what tools does your platform can replace? So for sure it can be Zoom, Slack, what else? Because you have like multiple tools inside your app. So what else like can you like unite, or combine in your one platform?
Yeah, I hate using the word replace, but
Yeah, yeah, okay. I don't know, like be an
no, that's
alternative
okay.
too.
If you're using any work tools, I will say, if you're using any work tools, but you're a community, then we're definitely replacing them. Uh, Work communication tools. If you're using platforms to have your meetings and your events, whether they're in person or virtual, and you're really looking for the networking piece to offer to your members, that's what we're replacing. So we have, without naming names, I'm sure a ton come to your mind, but what do
No
you
ads.
join? Yeah, what do you join when you go into a meeting? What do you join when you're talking to people in a group? What do you when you receive an in-person event? You get event pages. There's multiple companies that do this where they'll send you an
Exactly.
invitation. But what's missing there is that what happens when the event is done? It's done. There's nothing taking you beyond that experience. And we think that the experience is only like that is actually the beginning of your relationship with someone. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And like I used to be a head of community adventure fund as well. And this is super annoying when you have to look for one tool to schedule an event, another one to advertise it. Then you have to use like, I don't know, Excel or something to keep all this content there. Then to
or
reach
your
out to these
directory,
people.
I mean,
Yeah, your directory. Like
there
there's
are
so many tools. So you go crazy, you have to plan it, structure it. And when you have just one magic tool to do all of these things, that like solves so many problems. So yeah,
yeah. I
great,
mean,
great.
Tasha, you know this as a community manager previously. You're managing a humongous ecosystem, and you're basically stitching together 10 to 12 different platforms.
Yeah.
But you're seeing a loss of engagement because when people hop from platform to platform, not all of them are going to keep doing that, and you're basically losing on the people side, and what they're losing on is on the engagement side, because they're not able to feel like there's one unified one platform for all of their community needs.
Yeah.
That's what we want to be. We want to be that place where when they think of, I want to find resources, I want to find people, I want to see what experiences there are available to me that are relevant to me. You go to EKOS. You go either to the inside of the communities that you belong to, or you can go to EKOS Public and see what's up around your area.
Yeah, and you're losing a lot of time. That
Yeah,
is so precious. So yeah, it's also super,
exactly.
super important. But now like another question. So, okay, so you got this idea, you realize and identify the problem. So how did you transition from the idea phase to actions? Because it's like it's hard. So how do you do it in terms like for all future founders, the founders that are struggling with their ideas and talking to users? So how did you do that? Like what are the next steps? First, you got an idea. What's next?
uh, Go test it out with people without even doing anything. I started talking to people and asking them if this was a problem. I started with my friends, and then I started with some colleagues. I was really asking different types of people because I wanted to understand if this problem existed, and if there was a specific group it existed more. If there was a specific industry I could lean into a little bit more. And once I realized that we all talk about the word networking quite a bit,
Yeah.
but I don't think we've solved for it yet. We have platforms that offer us content, and places to store our content and potentially our people, our directories.
Yeah.
Not a place where it really ignites engagement. It creates this living, breathing space, this living, breathing world. And that's what I noticed when I started talking to people. The first thing is we did was we started interviewing a ton of people and asking them questions of like, what is your burning, like, what is the problem that is really an issue for you today? Is it because you're using a lot of platforms? Is it that you're not seeing engagement? Why do you think you're not seeing engagement? And then we looked at the individual.
Hello, Melis, can you hear me? Okay, I guess we have some technical issues. Okay, let's wait for Melis to come back. I guess there is something with her internet connection. Just to remind you that we keep talking about EKOS.AI, that is an AI-powered platform for hybrid communities. And I can say that I myself used to use it a lot, and it's fantastic. Oh, we see Melissa's back. Here we go. Back to us. Yeah. A little technical issue. Yeah, so welcome back.
Thank you. I don't know what happened there. I just kept seeing like the screen went black. Anyway, regardless.
Yeah. No worries. So let's keep our discussion going. And so, yeah, everything that you mentioned is like really important. That like, so basically talking to users helps you a lot to form the concepts, right?
So talking to, I didn't know if they were users yet.
Yeah. Okay. So like
At the end
potential
of the
user.
day, yeah, so I mean, I was really just talking to anyone who would talk to me, and I was asking them what they were frustrated with. And there was a few different ways we would ask this. I would ask them, what are you frustrated with in-person events? What are you frustrated with virtual
Mhm.
events? And do you belong to any communities? What frustrates you about the ones you belong to? And what are the things that you wish for that you had? And that's how we started it. We also did obviously some research on our own, just by using some of the studies that were available to us. But what we found was it was networking, it was really relationship building, and they didn't feel like the platforms out there were addressing that. So
Mhm.
that's really what we leaned into. And then the first thing that we did was we started designing the UI, more or less, of the first iteration of what EKOS would look like.
Yeah.
And frankly, it was more so our pitch deck at that point.
Yeah.
And we started showing that to some of our potential customers, potential users, and said, does this address it? What would this thing do to address it? And that's when we started building things, but we kept testing that out. We actually we had smaller user groups as well, where we were testing out the UI as well as the thesis of we had of like, how do we solve for this? How do you
Mhm.
build relationship in a hybrid world? And how is this platform going to solve it versus other platforms?
Interesting. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing all these insights. So, and how big is your team now? How many people you have?
We are about 12 people so far, and we have amazing advisors and mentors. We're also a part of the Techstarts Boston program, so we've been assigned a ton of amazing mentors from there as well.
Wow,
Uh,
congrats.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, like 12 people is still like a pretty big team. Just my next question is about teams. So, I strongly believe that the most challenging thing in running your own company is attracting talents, because first you have to find professional people, right, to work on you and move your company to the next level. And second, you have to offer them something in return: money, equity, hopes, I don't know. So, how did you build your team? And like, how did you attract this talent? What like tips can you give us?
So my background is in recruiting as well.
Oh
So
my God, you have so many.
So
sales
I went into
accidentally.
I went from fundraising to recruiting, from recruiting to sales.
Oh wow.
But so recruiting the technical talent is really finding a few people who are going to be the core members, core founding members. That was frankly easier when you're earlier on and you have some type of funding. The part that I think I would probably say spend more time on is really like, who are those primary people that are going to be a part of that founding team? Who are the individuals that are going to help accelerate your company as fast as possible, and who are very much bought into the problem, the solution. Potentially, it was a pain point for them because it's not an easy journey. I mean, building something that does not exist or that does exist, and you're trying to compete with others and making a specific experience better is not something that everyone can do or feels
Yeah,
comfortable
for
doing, because
sure.
it's an ever-changing game. You're tested every day, you're given feedback every day. You have to pivot at times.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, this is super difficult, and that's that's what I don't really understand. So is it like more the founders, charisma that helps you to hire people? Because one thing is when you go to the big company that is stable, you know that you will have your salary, like your benefits, everything is pretty clear. And another thing, right, is when you join a startup and you're not even sure whether this startup will close the door next day. So what was like the main thing that helped you, to attract them, to convince them join your team?
I think everyone that is a part of our team wanted to prove something.
True.
They
Hmm.
really were people who liked solving things, and they are. I mean, we solve things every day together. One of the important parts was that they were comfortable with that ever-changing feeling of like, okay, we were going to do this on Monday, but now we've seen data showing us that we should be doing something else. So Wednesday, we're now
Yeah.
changing things up. And I don't think everyone's ready for that type of an environment, because it doesn't feel safe. It's constantly moving and changing. Sometimes you're building something and you're pivoting to something else because you're seeing traction somewhere else. So I think that when we were looking for people, some of the stuff that we asked even during the interview questions was like, do you like building stuff? Like, do you break it and build it again? Are you comfortable with change? What does change mean to you? Uh,
Flexible environment. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So that's interesting. But like, so if 12 people joined you, so you were pretty convincing.
I
So these
mean,
people
I
do love
think
changes.
well, sales helps, but I think that
Ah, yeah.
if you're talking to someone and when you talk about what you want to solve for, they've experienced it, it's much easier to bring them into the team, because they understand what you're trying to do, and they want to be a part of it because it's been a pain point for them in the past. I think it's important when you're bringing people together that initially, especially in like the earlier days of a startup, that they very much feel passionate about the problem that they're solving. It's not a job; it's basically a movement, frankly.
Movement. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But do you like at this point as a startup founder, do you still care about the corporate culture? I know like we cannot say about in such a big scale, but do you do something, to keep people united? I don't know, little things like meetings, monthly meetups,
Yeah.
just for the team.
So, I mean, we have meetings. Well, first of all, we're all hybrid, so we have meetings every day. We
Yeah,
try
like, but I mean, meetings for like pleasure and communication rather than
Yes.
work.
We for during, for example, last year, we were sending out Legos so that everyone could do Legos together virtually. This year, we're very much focusing on some in-person experiences so that people can come together once a month.
Mm.
Culture is
Mhm.
extremely important though, but it's also it's a tough thing to address when you're so young. So
Yeah.
figuring out what your mission and vision is, and really reminding yourself what that is on a practically a weekly basis, and looking around you and knowing that you're surrounding yourself with people who agree and are really living and breathing the same vision and mission, I think is really what helps build culture. So, we have our ecos map, as we would say, of like, who are we, and who do we thrive to be. And we actually just did this exercise with Techstars again as well, and we wrote
Yeah.
down our mission, our vision, and like, what type of a culture we're leading at EKOS. And thankfully, it was similar to what we had put down over 2 years ago, which was exciting to see.
Amazing.
I think that if we had to put it into one sentence, it's we want to be innovative,
Uh-huh.
but we want to basically be kind while we're being innovative.
So simple but true, yeah.
Yeah, we want to be innovative. We want to be kind while we're doing so. We want to always be listening and become ever changing, because I think that's a big part of why we're here today. We've been listening to our customers. We've been listening to each other, and we don't all have to agree, and we haven't. And that's one of the primary things that we say when we're even bringing anyone new onto the team. We're like, you can disagree, just prove it. Prove that your idea is what we should go with, and we have really healthy discussions and debates around everything that's product and tech related.
Yeah, no, and that's true. And like from my side, I can say that you're really very responsive, and I would say maybe easygoing, because we met with Melis when I was at VC, and then we continued working at Women in Tech. And yeah, you are pretty responsive and always welcome, and and really kind. Like, sometimes you reach out to certain founders and they're always busy, and I do understand it as well. But it's really important to get back. It's really important to answer the emails, even I know sometimes it can be really hard because you're busy working. But yeah, and like I do have this feeling, and this is amazing. So this like corporate culture, if we can say so, your internal culture, it does like reflects here, so externally, so I can feel it, and this is amazing. So you guys are great.
Thank
And
you.
going back to Techstars always, so right now you're a Techstars company, so you're going through their accelerated program. So how does VC change the game for you? And was it more about money or about different types of support? So tell me please a little bit about this.
I think with Techstars, it was very much about the support. Techstars has an amazing network, and they have amazing mentors and a really, really cool founder ecosystem. And we really wanted to be a part of that. And we're very, very happy that we made the decision to join the Boston cohort. We've already met some really, really amazing people. We've also met a ton of alumni now during FounderCon as well.
Yeah, so you're right now in San Francisco, right? We have to say
Yeah.
that there is like a FounderCon conference, right? A big event for Techstars. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the one thing that I like about this community is everyone's extremely approachable. I met the CEO yesterday. We had a lovely conversation about EKOS, and I met several other people who I had seen, on other platforms before, but just images or recordings of them, but had never had the chance to meet them in person. So I think that the give first mentality is really what we're here for, and what we've been receiving, which we really appreciate. And I think it's going to help accelerate us really fast as well. We're seeing people from across the globe who are part of different Techstars ecosystems reach out and offer help, as well as even become customers. So we're very excited about it.
Yeah, do you agree with this statement? Some people say that for good founders, accelerators are very helpful, but even without them, they can succeed. For bad founders, even with accelerators, right, you don't have too many high chances to do so. I mean, by good and bad, I mean like proactive, right, hardworking, responsible.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I mean, in all honesty, I have not met a bad founder thus far, but I've not been in the founder game. This is my first company.
yeah,
I'm a first-time founder. I think that founding a company comes with its challenges. Sometimes it's not the right time. Sometimes it's not the right time for the founder. I think what we forget is people also have lives outside of these organizations and
true.
these things that we're trying to build, and personal stuff can get in the way. and really, mental health is another one. I mean, it is very tough to constantly
Yeah,
keep building something while everyone's telling you that you shouldn't. It is true that we have to talk to over
a lot
200
of pressure.
VCs to get a yes. So you're talking about 199 potential people telling you that your product sucks or why are you even building it?
Yeah. And you
But
still have to believe in yourself, right?
correct. You still have to believe in yourself, and you have to surround yourself with people that believe in you, which is why we're very happy where we are right now. But I do believe that the accelerators are not for everyone. Thus far, our journey's been amazing. If you're looking for more support, then yes, it's a great place to go to. Finding one that has a really good mentor community and alumni community will help you accelerate your startup even faster. But if you're further along and you feel like you have the people around you, you've already formed a board, you
Hmm.
have an amazing community around you that's already existing, you might not need it. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer of like, should I join or should I not join? It's really, is it right for that founder, that company, or is it not?
Yeah, that's true. I think there is no right answer. But talking about investors in general, like for you, what factors were the most crucial for you looking for an investor? So was it about specific industry? So there is specific industry oriented. Was it about amount of money they invest? Was it about the managers who work there? So what was the most important for you?
Uh, well, funnily enough, it was really people who weren't comparing us to LinkedIn. When we first started the company, it was really difficult to just like separate ourselves from that.
Yeah.
And we're like, we're building, a community management engagement platform, and it's so people can meet each other faster. It's to actually build relationships. And so for us, I think we were looking for people who had the B2B side, but also an
B2B side.
understanding of the
Uh-huh.
an understanding of the B2C world as well. And people who've attended and who are a part of multiple ecosystems helped us, because if you were not, and if you were not using any of the tools that we're either competing against or replacing, there was no way you would understand what we're trying to build and why we're building it. So
Yeah.
whenever we started those conversations, we always asked with like, oh, do you use this? Do you use that? Like, what are you frustrated by? Or like, if you have a profile here, why is it that you're not that active? And then bring it to, okay, well, this is what we're solving for. Like, does this excite you? But yeah, we have some amazing investors, and we've met a ton of other really cool ones along the journey. And
Yeah.
hopefully we'll keep meeting amazing
Yeah. Yeah.
investors who
Keep them
will
for later.
yeah.
Yeah, and another question. So, how did you sign your first big client? So, I don't know if it's a secret who was that or not. So, how did you do it, and how did it change the situation for you?
First big client. Well, I'll be honest. Our first big client was Techstars. Uh,
Techstars. So, you're
yeah.
a Techstars company, and actually, Techstars is your customer.
Yeah, so Techstars was our first client that we signed on, our first big client, I would say, that we signed on.
Yeah, like Techstars is like one of the best world accelerators.
Yeah, and it was a really cool journey because they became design partners. This is even before we joined the program or we
Yeah,
applied.
yeah, exactly.
And we realized there was this, which is why our beachhead actually became accelerators, incubators, and the startup ecosystem, because they were early adapters. They really wanted to meet each other. They wanted to meet each other faster and build relationships, because that's what ROI meant to them. It meant meeting an investor, meeting a co-founder, meeting a mentor who was going to be able to help them. And they were super networkers. So Techstars was our first, and we continued building from there. And then, which is also another big reason we decided that we would join the program too, because they understood the platform. They've been using the platform, so we thought that we would be able to get all of the advice and the mentorship that we needed from people who were already a part of the ecosystem.
Yeah. So basically, does signing like Techstars as your first significant client make it easier now to attract others? I believe so, right?
I mean, we don't really rave our client names when we're talking to people. What I've seen is it's easier to sell when a client is referring you to someone else. And I think
Yeah, that's a good point.
and with a platform such as ours, there's a lot of referrals going on, where someone says, "Oh my gosh, I have my community on here, here, and here. It's really exhausting."
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
someone who's, another platform head of platform or program manager says, "Oh my gosh, I'm using this platform. You should switch over. Here is why." So that's really been a driver. We've not really leaned into, and we've not really started our journey on driving sales yet. We've really been in building mode, and we're going to be doing that in the coming weeks. So we're excited to see what comes out from that.
Yeah. No, wonderful. And I also think that even if you don't have, to show off your name, like the names of your clients, it's also about some internal self-confidence, when you sign, it's like you understand, okay, so I can do that, like you get this certain level of confidence, maybe that help you to overcome all these failures that you had, no?
Yeah, I mean, yes, having signing clients that also act as design partners, and really help build with you because they believe that you're solving a huge problem for them, I think is really what moves the needle early on. And then figuring out when you're ready to then, open it up to the world and continue driving more feedback is really that and finding that sweet spot is definitely a journey. But I think we were listening to some conversations yesterday and the day before on stage about really shipping your product as soon as possible. Doesn't matter if it's going to break, doesn't matter if it has bugs, but really getting as much feedback as you constantly can so that you can improve and iterate as fast as you can is truth. It's also not easy because you want to make it look good, you want it to work
Yeah.
properly.
Yeah.
But the longer you wait, the longer you might be, the more chances that you might be making incorrect decisions in terms of what you think, because you're going with what you think your customers want versus what they want. So throw it out there, let them play with it, let them try to break it, and let them tell you what they hate, what they love, and iterate.
Oh my God, I think these are like the most important words because really some people are so obsessed with, finalizing the product, making it perfect, but they do not have this customer feedback that actually stops them from moving forward. So this is amazing when you said just throw them, throw it to them and let them play around. This is
Yeah, I mean,
amazing.
it's like building it. Technically speaking, what you're doing is really you're building a floaty that's going to float on the
Yeah,
water.
floaty.
And every single time there's, a little bit of water coming in, you can fix it. The point
Exactly. Yeah, but you have to be ready, right? You have to
exactly
be
you
ready
have
to
to
hear
be,
this criticism.
but you need to be able to know what's your North Star and where are you pulling that data from. So like, what are you watching, and what are you looking at so that you know what to iterate on or what to fix or what to improve. And then making sure that you're working with people that really help you understand what's first, what comes first, what do you fix first, what do you improve first, what are people touching more, like what part of your product are people touching more, spending most of their time in, that really is getting extremely sticky, that you can lean into.
Yeah, exactly. And I have two more questions for you. I know you have a big day today, right? You're presenting at the conference. So, yeah. But so you are a female entrepreneur with Turkish roots, not a typical combo, right?
Yeah.
So, we talk like a lot about female founders, how their path is different from male founders, or maybe not. So, from your perspective, what are the most significant challenges you've faced as a female founder? Or maybe it helped you and it made your path easier. So, what can you say about that?
I mean, I think that the stats show that obviously it's I don't I've not looked at them in a while, but I believe the funding gap is about 2% to 98% or something like
Yeah, this is super low. Yeah.
yeah. That being said, I've had great experiences with investors that I've spoken to. I think that finding and I think that finding the right fit isn't just going spraying and praying in terms of the people that you pitch to. Really looking at the angels as well as VCs, looking at their portfolios, seeing that they've invested in female founders and immigrant founders,
Mhm.
and then also obviously in your space.
Yeah, you have a lot of categories: immigrants, industry, female founders.
So, that makes the journey easier.
Uh-huh.
But it is true that I think that, and I don't want to speak for all female founders, but it's definitely a journey. It can be harder, but there are people out there who, similar to your network, that really help us get to the next stage. And I've tried to focus less on what's more difficult, and more on how can I get there faster and what can I do, because we just don't have time to be able to spend on this huge funding gap. We don't have time to be able to spend on, oh, well, I know that this is how an investor is going to perceive me. We just have to put our best foot forward and figure out what we can do to wow a person when we talk about our product, when we talk about our vision, and really hope that they are moved as much as we are, and take a chance on us.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you try not to focus on gender, like equity or these issues. So you just try to keep building and work on that and impress your customers with your product.
I mean, I wouldn't say that we don't focus on them. I think that we think about them a lot. I'm just saying it's not something that the only way that we can fix some of these things
Yeah.
by being and really just making it. Because
Yeah, by showing your example, right?
because the more I can see myself out there, the more of us that's out there making it, that's more percentages towards us. That's more proof points towards us. So instead of thinking about what's wrong, the only way we can fix it, I think, in my opinion, the only way a founder can fix it is really by doing as much as we can to be successful, to drive our companies to that point where we are the change, we are driving that change, and we are becoming a part of those proof points.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I can say that you're a great example. And I see more and more female founders that are successful, confident, and that are rocking this world. And this is truly amazing to see, like real examples, to see how women, achieve greater results every year. This is just amazing. And I'm so proud of all these female founders who are here, and especially of you. So you're doing amazing things and great job. So,
listen, I mean, it's not easy. I think that we are
we have to say it, yeah.
we have an amazing community. So I think that we all, women are just, we are out here to do amazing stuff. And as long as we help each other, and we help each other scale, and we continue supporting each other, I think we're going to get there. And I think I'm really hoping that we'll see some changes in the coming years, and I hope that we're a part of that change.
Yeah. Oh, you are. You definitely are. So to wrap up this amazing conversation with you, so what's next for EKOS.AI? What are your next plans or goals that you want to achieve? I don't say where do you see yourself in 5 years, just in general. What do you want to focus on?
Well, we're preparing for Techstarts Demo Day. That's going to be
this is a big day for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So please log in, watch us.
When is it, sorry?
That's going to be December 6th.
December 6th. Okay, everyone.
Yeah, that's our next big thing. So we're all preparing. We have an amazing cohort with amazing founders that you can watch on December 6th. I don't know where the link is going to be yet, but I'm sure they'll be able to blast their.
Make sure to share it.
Yeah. But that being said, we're very much heads down focusing on our product. We're building, we're really focusing on ICP and product market fit right now, and listening to our mentors and spending a lot of time with them. So that's what we'll be doing for the next few weeks or 2 months. And then I think things will take another turn after Demo Day.
Oh yeah. So it's better not to plan, for a long-term perspective. So yeah, let's say about our plans for the next 2 weeks. So you have a lot of work to do during the next couple of months. So I wish you good luck, and thank you so much for sharing all your insights, for inspiring other women and other female founders, and in general founders, because This is amazing. I'm so proud of you that you made it to Techstarts and that you are like rocking right now at this conference in San Francisco. So I wish you all the best luck. So that was Melis Dural, Techstar company, female founder, and a wonderful person. Thank you so much, Melis.
Thank you so much, Sasha.
Yeah, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.